They miss it. They miss the way she shifts closer when they speak. They miss the way her eyes linger when she thinks no one's watching. They miss the game she plays, not to deceive, but to feel safe falling for someone real. Because here's the brutal truth. No one tells men. When a woman is crazy about you, she almost never says it directly. Instead, she speaks in a secret language, body language, micro-tests, withdrawal, silence, and the men who can't decode it, they get left wondering. Today that changes, because I'm going to reveal the two most overlooked, misunderstood, and yet powerful signs a woman gives when she's secretly obsessed with you. And the second one, it's so misread by men that they often walk away from the very woman who wants them most. But if you understand what I'm about to show you, your entire dating experience and your confidence as a man will transform. Let's be honest, no one taught us how to read women. In school, they taught us grammar, history, and math. But no one handed us a manual that explained what it really means when a woman mirrors your movements, or goes cold right after flirting, or talks about some guy she met yesterday just as things were getting interesting. Instead, we were left to figure it out alone through trial, error, rejection, and confusion. And somewhere along the way, we picked up the wrong messages. If she likes you, she'll tell you. If she pulls away, she's not interested. If she talks about another guy, she's over you. None of these are true, not when it comes to female psychology. The truth is, women are rarely direct with their attraction, not because they're trying to play games, but because their biology doesn't allow them to be too obvious too soon. Why? Because for women, attraction isn't just about pleasure. It's about risk. Evolution taught them that giving affection too easily could lead to vulnerability, to being used, abandoned, or misunderstood. So instead of saying, "I want you," they ask silently, "Can I trust you with what I feel?" And that question shows up in strange ways. In a glance held for a little too long. In a teasing jab followed by nervous laughter. In sudden silence after a deep moment. In asking about another woman just to see how you'll react. But most men aren't trained to see these things. They're watching for obvious signs, phone numbers, compliments, direct confessions, and when they don't get those, they assume nothing's happening. Meanwhile, they walk past the woman who's giving them every signal her body can send without even realizing it. I remember coaching a client named Brandon, quiet guy, mid-30s, intelligent, but always unsure around women. He told me, "I never know when someone's into me. I always find out after she's already moved on." So we sat down and I walked him through some old conversations he'd had with a woman at work, body language, text exchanges, timing. He was stunned. "Wait, so when she leaned in after I did, that meant something? When she brought up my ex-girlfriend, she wasn't just being nosy. That smile she gave me after making fun of me, that was flirting." Yes, yes, and absolutely yes. Brandon's story isn't unique. In fact, it's the rule, not the exception. Most men are blind to what's right in front of them, not because they're foolish, but because they've never been trained to read the real signals. They've been conditioned to listen for words when they should be watching for behaviors, and this blindness costs them. It costs them opportunities. It costs them connection. It costs them the kind of romantic clarity and confidence that only a few men ever develop. But here's the good news. Once you start learning this silent language, you can't unsee it. It's like learning to read for the first time. Suddenly the world becomes filled with meaning. And that brings us to the first signal, one that's so simple, so instinctive, and yet so universally overlooked. It might just be happening to you right now. Here's something most people don't realize. When it comes to attraction, the body always speaks before the mouth does. In fact, most of what we call chemistry is simply a set of subconscious physical responses. Tiny movements, gestures, expressions, and reactions that happen long before anyone even says hello. So if you're looking for proof of attraction in a woman's words, you're already 2 steps behind. Neuroscience has shown us that attraction isn't logical, it's neurological. When someone triggers our interest, our limbic system, the emotional center of the brain lights up. This part of the brain doesn't use language. It doesn't write poems or send flirty texts. It acts. It changes posture. It dilates pupils. It synchronizes breathing. It mimics tone and rhythm. It makes her fidget, smile, touch her hair, adjust her body toward you even when she's not aware of it. This is what's known in psychology as nonverbal leakage, emotional truth slipping out through the body even if the person is trying to hide it. And here's the key. These signs cannot be faked for long. Words can lie, but the body never does, at least not consistently. When a woman is interested in you, she may say things that confuse you. "You're trouble. I shouldn't like guys like you. You're probably a player." But her body is saying something very different. She shifts toward you when she laughs. Her feet point in your direction. She mimics how you sip your drink or tilt your head. She unconsciously plays with her jewelry or touches her lips when you're speaking. These aren't accidents, they're signals, they're biological Morse code. Let's step back in time tens of thousands of years ago. Long before dating apps, before language as we know it, our ancestors relied on non-verbal communication to assess connection, trust, and attraction. A glance, a posture shift, a tone change. It was all they had, and those who were best at decoding those subtle cues, they survived. They passed on their genes. Their instincts became part of us. Today we're still using that ancient system whether we know it or not. So when a woman mirrors your movements or tests you through silence or subtle distance, she's not trying to be mysterious. She's responding to something deeper, something pre-verbal, emotional, and often uncontrollable. It's her subconscious saying, "This man is affecting me. Let's see if he's safe, strong, emotionally grounded." And if you respond like most men with confusion, overreaction, or desperation, you've just failed a test you didn't even know you were taking. But if you know the language, if you stay calm, aware, and tuned in, you unlock a level of understanding that most men will never reach. You stop reacting, you start observing, and suddenly the entire game changes. You're no longer chasing attraction. You're reading it, guiding it, responding to it like a man fluent in a forgotten language. That brings us to the first concrete signal, the copycat effect, which we'll explore next in detail. But first, let me give you a real-life story to show just how powerful nonverbal attraction can be. Picture this. You're sitting across from her at your favorite coffee shop. The conversation is flowing, your jokes are landing, and there's this quiet electricity in the air. You reach for your cup, take a sip. Seconds later, she does the same. You lean forward, and moments later, so does she. You cross your legs. 2 minutes later, hers follow. You probably didn't think anything of it, but her subconscious just screamed, "I feel safe, I feel connected, I want to match you." This isn't a coincidence. This is the copycat effect, and it's one of the most accurate hardwired signs of real female interest. Mirroring is when someone subconsciously imitates your posture, tone, gestures, or rhythm. It's not a strategy, it's not flirtation. It's a biological bonding mechanism rooted in evolution. When someone mirrors you, their brain is literally trying to create alignment, emotional, physical, and psychological harmony. Think about it. Babies mirror their parents as the first form of attachment. Friends mirror each other during deep conversations. Couples in love often move, breathe, and speak in synchrony without even noticing. And when a woman does it with you, that's her body screaming what her words won't say out loud. "I want to connect with you." Let me tell you a quick story. One of my coaching clients, Ryan, met a woman at his gym. They spoke occasionally, short chats between sets, friendly smiles. Nothing obvious, but one day he told me something odd. I noticed she was stretching her legs the same way I was. Then she changed machines right after me, and when I scratched my neck, like 30 seconds later, she did the exact same thing. To him it was strange but meaningless. To me it was textbook mirroring. We decided to test it. The next day I told him to switch his usual stretching routine mid-session, do something specific and non-obvious like touching his left shoulder and then rolling his neck. Guess what? She did the same thing 15 seconds later without realizing it. Her body was syncing with his. Her mirror neurons, the cells responsible for emotional empathy and mimicry, were firing. And it wasn't fake, it wasn't a performance. It was attraction made visible. Want to measure how strong her interest is? It's not just if she mirrors you, it's how quickly. 0. 5 seconds, deep emotional alignment. 5, 15 seconds, high interest, slightly guarded. 15, 30 seconds, slightly intrigued but cautious. 30 plus seconds. She's feeling it but unsure, her mind is resisting what her body feels. The more immediate and precise her mirroring, the stronger her subconscious bond with you. And it's not just physical gestures. Listen closely. If she starts matching your speech rhythm, uses similar phrasing or vocabulary, laughs in sync with you, breathes at the same pace when sitting across from you, these are not casual coincidences. They are indicators of emotional openness. Try this next time you're with a woman you're unsure about. Establish a baseline. Observe her default posture, breathing, and energy. Is she stiff or relaxed, animated or quiet? Shift your energy. Make a clear but subtle change. Lean back. Cross your arms, slow down your speech, or raise your drink. Wait, watch, count. Don't force anything. Just observe her within 10-30 seconds. Did she follow even slightly? If yes, that's mirroring. If no, she may not be emotionally aligned yet, or she may be guarded. In either case, don't push. Let the connection build. Want to deepen her attraction? Flip the strategy. Start mirroring her subtly, her breathing, her tone, her posture. Why? Because when you mirror someone, their brain starts releasing oxytocin, the bonding hormone. You're signaling, I get you, I see you, I'm present with you. And that creates a felt sense of emotional safety, which is the foundation of romantic desire. But be careful, don't overdo it. This isn't mimicry. It's empathy through body language. Use it when you're already feeling in sync to reinforce that alignment, not to fake it. If a woman never mirrors your gestures, posture, or tone, even after extended time together, it could mean she's emotionally unavailable. She's not yet comfortable. She may simply not be interested. Don't take it personally. Just understand attraction shows up in motion, not just words. Now that you understand the copycat effect, you'll begin noticing it in conversations you used to overlook. That friend who always sits like you at dinner. That girl at work who starts using your phrases. The woman who orders what you ordered 5 minutes later. They're not just copying you, they're connecting with you. So you've spotted it. She's mirroring your movements. Her posture shifts when yours does. Her tone adapts to yours. She's subconsciously syncing with your rhythm, body, and voice. Most men stop there. They smile, feel good, and maybe chalk it up to coincidence. But the smart man, the emotionally intelligent man, doesn't just notice it. He responds to it. And that response, it's the difference between a moment of chemistry and a lasting connection. Here's how. When you notice a woman mirroring, you understand this. You've entered what I call the emotional openness window. In this window, her subconscious defenses are lowered. She feels safe, synchronized, and slightly exposed even if she doesn't realize it. It's not the time to brag. It's not the time to shift into performance mode. It's the time to deepen the vibe. Lower your voice slightly. Slow down your gestures. Soften your facial expressions. Ask deeper, more emotionally resonant questions. What's something you're passionate about that most people don't know? What makes you feel most alive outside of work? When was the last time you did something that scared you in a good way? You're no longer flirting. You're inviting her to drop into a deeper emotional layer, and because her brain is already aligning with yours, she'll likely go there. Now is the perfect time to mirror her back gently and deliberately. Match her tone. Reflect her posture. Adapt to her pace. This creates what psychologists call limbic resonance, when two people's emotional states sync up, leading to stronger feelings of connection and comfort. But this is subtle work. Don't mimic, calibrate. If she leans in with warmth, you lean slightly forward. If she pauses when speaking, you allow silence to sit. If her voice drops, you match the gravity. It's not acting, it's emotional pacing. You're saying through your body, we're on the same wavelength. And that to a woman is deeply attractive, because most men are either too reactive or too disconnected to feel the moment in real time. Here's a high-level technique. Once you've built rapport through mirroring, and only once the rhythm is solid, introduce a small controlled disruption. Why? Because slight contrast builds tension, and tension fuels desire. Try this. If you're both leaning in, slowly lean back, maintaining eye contact. If you're in sync, vocally pause longer before your next response. If your tone is soft, add a moment of playful challenge. Example, you're starting to sound a little too much like me. Dangerous territory. Smile. This micro-interruption causes her to reattune to you, sharpening her awareness and deepening the emotional loop. It's like dancing, sometimes leading, sometimes following, always reading the rhythm. Mirroring is powerful but fragile. Here are 3 things that will instantly break the emotional flow. Calling it out. Never say, "Are you copying me?" or "You're doing what I'm doing." It makes her self-conscious and snaps her out of the emotional state. Mocking it. Teasing her about mirroring can be perceived as belittling. It turns subconscious rapport into conscious awkwardness. Forcing it. If you try to make her mirror you, you'll come off manipulative. Let it happen organically or not at all. Back to Ryan, the client from earlier, who noticed mirroring at the gym. After I trained him in reverse mirroring and emotional pacing, he decided to try it more intentionally. He spotted the girl he liked on the treadmill next to his. Instead of starting a conversation immediately, he adjusted his pace subtly and noticed she began matching it. When he slowed down and leaned on the bar, she did the same a moment later. He smiled, turned, and said calmly, "We're starting to look like synchronized swimmers." She laughed, genuine, relaxed, open. A conversation began, effortless and flowing. Within 20 minutes, they were sitting at the juice bar talking about travel fears and childhood dreams. And 3 weeks later, they went on their first real date. It all started not with a pickup line, but with mirroring, emotional awareness, and timing. Mirroring isn't a trick. It's a window into her subconscious, a sign that her body wants something her mind isn't ready to admit. And when you see it, feel it, and respond with calm, grounded presence, you're doing something most men never do. You're not just flirting, you're creating resonance. You're not chasing, you're leading softly, confidently, and visibly. And that kind of leadership, that's what she remembers long after the conversation ends. Let's shift gears. Imagine this. You've been vibing with her for weeks, texting, talking, maybe a few casual dates. The connection feels real. And then without warning, she pulls back. The replies get shorter. She brings up some guy she was talking to. She seems colder, distracted, maybe even a little rude. Your gut twists. You think she's not into me anymore. You start chasing, asking what went wrong, trying to fix it. But here's the secret most men never learn. That moment right there might be when she's most attracted to you. She's not rejecting you, she's testing you. Welcome to the jealousy test. When a woman starts to feel a real emotional pull toward you, something unusual happens. Her prefrontal cortex, the rational part of the brain, gets nervous. It wants to verify. Is this guy stable? Is he emotionally safe? Can I trust how I feel around him? Meanwhile, her limbic system, the emotional brain, is already hooked. This creates an internal conflict. To resolve it, her subconscious does something women have been doing for millennia. It creates a controlled emotional storm to see if you'll stay calm inside it. That's the jealousy test. It's not manipulation, it's not cruelty, it's emotional security screening. And how you react in that storm determines what happens next. Here are 3 common forms this test takes. 1. Withdrawal after connection. Right after a moment of real connection, a deep conversation, an intimate date, or a powerful look, she suddenly becomes distant. Why? Because she's scared by her own feelings, and she needs to know. Will he get needy when I pull back? Will he chase, or will he remain centered? Your job: don't chase, don't pout, don't confront. Stay grounded, stay present, let the rubber band stretch. She'll come back. 2. Mentioning other men casually. You're mid-conversation, things are flowing, and then she says, I went out with some friends. Mark was hilarious last night. There's this guy at work who's been trying to get me to go on a date. She's not bragging. She's not even really interested in them. She's watching you. She's watching your eyes, your posture, your tone. She wants to know, will you crumble? Will you show jealousy? Or will you hold your emotional ground? Failing this test means over-explaining, sounding defensive, or visibly reacting. Passing it. Try this. He sounds like fun. Calm smile. I hope he can keep up with you. Slightly amused tone. You just passed with flying colors. 3. Flirting with other men in your presence. This one stings the most. You're at a social event. You've been chatting all night. Then out of nowhere, she starts being playful with another guy. Not overtly, but just enough to make your stomach twist. And then she glances at you. That glance is everything. She doesn't care about the other guy. She wants to see if you'll lose composure, if you'll try to reassert yourself, if you'll get reactive. Because if you do, she loses trust in your emotional strength. But if you remain calm, smile, maybe even tease her later, you've proven you're above the drama, and her attraction skyrockets. Chris, a client of mine, had been dating a woman named Elise. Things were going great until she started pulling back. Less texting, less warmth. And one night at a party, she flirted with another guy right in front of him. He was about to storm out, but he remembered what we talked about: stay centered. This is not rejection. This is a test. So he stayed. When Elise walked by, he smiled and said, looks like you're putting on a show tonight. Should I be impressed or concerned? She laughed, hard. 10 minutes later, she was back by his side, touching his arm, laughing at every joke. And by the end of the night, she whispered, I just wanted to see if you'd get weird. Most guys would. Chris passed, and Elise fell harder than ever. Every time a woman throws a jealousy test your way, she's not trying to mess with your head. She's asking, can you handle me when I'm uncertain? Can you stay grounded when I'm emotional? Are you strong enough to lead when I feel vulnerable? If the answer is yes, she lets herself fall. But if the answer is no, she pulls back permanently. Because the deeper truth is this: women don't fall for the men who try to impress them. They fall for the men who make them feel emotionally secure, even in uncertainty. Let's step back and look at the big picture. You now understand something that 95% of men never do: that attraction speaks in silence. That the most powerful signals a woman gives are often the ones she's not aware of. And that if you can decode her body language and pass her emotional tests, you're not just attractive, you're trustworthy. But knowledge is nothing without integration. So let's break this all down into a step-by-step approach that you can start using tonight. You walk into a room. You start talking to a woman. She seems friendly, but you want to know if there's something more. What to look for? Does her posture shift after yours? Does she sip her drink when you do? Does her speech pattern gradually match yours? Is she blinking in sync or touching her hair after you adjust your collar? These aren't habits, they're echoes. They're alignment cues from her subconscious. Action. Once you see mirroring, slow down, lower your tone, invite emotional depth. She's opened the door, now you walk through it gently. Let's say things are going well and then she suddenly pulls back. Less eye contact. Shorter replies. Maybe she mentions another man or makes a snide joke. Most guys immediately think, she's losing interest. But what if it's the opposite? What if she's feeling too much and needs to know if you're strong enough to handle it? That's the jealousy test in action. Action, don't chase, don't justify, don't question. Instead, offer amused mastery or total calm. He sounds interesting. Your trouble I can already tell. Smile, let silence sit. She's not pushing you away. She's pulling on the edges of your composure to see if it holds. Everything hinges on this. No matter what she says, no matter how she moves, you control your inner world. Your value doesn't spike because she likes you, and it doesn't crash if she withdraws. Frame means this: I am okay with you without needing anything from you. And that energy, it's intoxicating. Women want to feel something real. And nothing feels more real than a man who is completely rooted when everyone else is reactive. Once the connection begins, once you feel the mirroring pass the tests and hold your frame, it's time to guide the energy. That doesn't mean dominate, it means gently set the tone. If she's nervous, you slow it down. If she's playful, you lean in with boldness. If she's testing, you ground the moment with warmth or humor. Example, she brings up her ex. You nod, smile, sounds like you're still healing. No rush here. You're not punishing her emotion. You're holding space for it without needing to fix or flee. That's rare, that's masculine, that's unforgettable. Here's the truth. A cold reply is not always disinterest. A mention of another man is not rejection. Silence doesn't mean she's done. Sometimes it means she's overwhelmed by what she's starting to feel. The world taught you to chase words. I'm telling you to watch behavior. Attraction, real attraction, doesn't start with big gestures. It starts in the quiet, the unsaid, the unconscious pull that she hopes you'll feel and not fumble. When you see her copying your posture, she's saying, I feel something. Do you? When she throws out a jealousy test, she's asking, can you hold your center when I can't? When you stay calm, grounded, warm, despite it all, you become the exception. And once she feels that, she stops testing, she starts trusting, and she opens up. So let me ask you this. How many moments have you walked past? How many times did she lean in, mirror your rhythm, echo your gestures, and you missed it? How many women tested you not to push you away, but to see if you'd stay, and you misread it as rejection? It's not your fault. No one taught you how to read this silent language. But now, you know. You've been handed a map most men will never even see. You know that attraction isn't loud, it's biological, subtle, and coded into posture, tone, and emotional tension. You know that her mirroring means more than her words. That her withdrawal isn't rejection, it's revelation. That when she tests you, it's not to break you, it's to trust you. And you know what to do now. You observe instead of overthink. You respond instead of react. You lead instead of chase. And you hold your frame when everyone else would fall apart. That is rare. That is masculine leadership. That is what makes her stop testing and start choosing. If this message hit home, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video so it reaches more men who've been stuck in the guessing game for too long. Comment below with one word that defines your experience. Mirroring if you've ever noticed it and didn't know what it meant. Test it if you've ever been through the emotional storms we talked about. Or just decode if you want me to break down more of these hidden attraction signals in future videos. And subscribe because next week I'm revealing something even more powerful. The 5-second trigger, a psychological hack that makes a woman feel drawn to you before you even say a word. You'll never approach the same way again. This isn't just about women. It's about becoming a man who sees truth through noise. A man who doesn't just chase connection, he creates it. A man who doesn't need permission to lead because he leads from within. The world doesn't need more loud men. It needs more centered men. Men who can handle emotion without collapsing, who can hold tension without fear, and who know that real attraction happens long before the first kiss. So start observing, start applying, and most of all, start becoming the man who doesn't flinch when she tests and doesn't miss when she mirrors. This is Michael from Stoic Focus signing off. Until next time, stay grounded, stay sharp, and stay ahead.